All right, let's wrap up this inlet. Once we're done with this inlet, the rest is going to be cake. And this shouldn't be too tough, but it's going to be a little tricky. Take our time. But one thing I did find, well, I shouldn't say I found this, but I realized where this went. So this piece right here, I realize goes here. But I don't really want to use it because it's massively, it's massively compressed and just really ragged out. But the one thing nice about it is it gives me an example, or lets me know exactly where I need to go with this this angled piece from the inlet down to here. So I know that right at this broken spot right there is where this starting point here. Let's forget about this because I cut this at a really tight angle, or a long angle, I should say, because I knew it was more of an angle than what I needed because I didn't want to undercut it. But right from this edge right here to this right here is where is the angle that we need. So really all I need to do is cut out a piece this size. Here, 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 and then make a piece maybe to fill in here. And I quite possibly might just cut this down to use this as a filler piece. That's probably what I'm going to do. So I have a filler piece here. Then I just need to cut some Dollar Tree foam to go from here down to here and line up nicely with this. And we can sand after that. So as long as I get it close, we're good. So I'm going to go, we'll go ahead and cut this piece down, glue it in, and then we'll measure the piece to go in there. So let's go ahead and see if we can get the camera somewhere where it won't be completely in my way. And you can still see what I'm doing. Oh, that looks pretty good. Looks like I know what I'm doing there. Let me see if I get my hands in there. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to stick with that. That looks pretty good. Tilt it back just a bit. All right, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and take this, and this is already falling apart, so I might as well just rip that off. So let's just kind of hand fit it in here. So that's basically where it's going to go. So I just want to make it so it's flush so my piece can go straight across. So I'm going to do that off camera. It's not rocket science. I mean, I'll probably do it. Maybe I can do it on camera here. I'm just going to cut it right towards my hand, right? Smart way to do it. That's how you cut your fingers off. I mean, I cut them off, but cut them so they are going to be sore for a few days. All right, so you get the point. I'm going to take this off camera and do it. All right, so we have that cut, and this will work out nicely because now I have something that will fill this gap perfectly because it's the original foam that went there. And then we can see maybe you can't see in the camera, but there's like this sticks out. It's like a little nub, and we know that's where this edge right here has to meet to there. So we really have a minimal piece to cut out. I'm also going to cut this up a little bit too. I'm probably going to cut this from here to here to give me a nice straight piece, so I can cut, you know, a piece of Dollar Tree foam that will fit nicely in there. So we might as well glue this gap fill piece in, and I put it in enough times to dry fit to know exactly how it feels when I go to actually glue it. And it's gonna, since we actually have a nice amount of glue on there, I probably actually should have put a little more glue on there. It's a little, not quite as, that's gonna stay, it's not gonna go anywhere. I would have liked to get a little bit more beading out of that. When you push your piece in and you get a bead on the edge, that's when you know you have you want a good amount of glue in there, and you can always push that bead off. I'm not getting much bead off this, even though I know I put a good layer of glue on there. But the thing is, I put this, instead of putting a thick bead on and letting it squish out and bead out, I kind of put a thin layer on the whole piece of foam. So actually, that's probably fine. It just seems like I got a gap there I shouldn't have. I think I'm going to get on there and fill that. So the nice thing about the copper tip, the stupid wheel, this gear, this copper tip glue gun is we can get in and we can inject into our foam. Wipe it clean. And now I know that's got enough in there. And I could feel where the glue I could feel where the glue was, and there's more glue in there than I thought. So that's not going anywhere. So again, good thing we kept every piece, because I have a piece that fits exactly where that hole was. So now I'm going to cut. See if I can do this without blocking the camera. I'm just going to cut. Believe it or not, you're really better off gluing to the original break point, just because there's so many nooks and crannies in there that and they're going to fit perfectly together. When you're gluing two original pieces that broke back together, you're going to get a way better glue point than you would if you took two flat edges, just because of the nooks and crannies. But we don't have that option here because we don't have that piece. Oh, we have it, but it's a compressed piece of garbage, basically. So, I mean, I really don't want to cut this much out, but kind of have to. Let's keep her going. All right, so I think we'll stick with that. Then I'll gap fill. Try to get this straight as possible. At least as straight as possible while freehand cutting. That's good. All right. So now we're going to, oops, sorry, then we'll need to cut this a little straighter too. So the only thing left to do now is to cut a piece of Dollar Tree foam that's basically from here to here and then up and around here. So we probably should, I don't know if one piece will do it. I don't know if we should layer it or not right now. Right now I'm going to say I do not need to layer it, because I'm going to cut this inside as well. What do you think about this? Yeah. So I need to make a cut. It's going to be off camera because it's going to be kind of a pain. I need to cut inside here. Let's see if we can see it. Where the Dollar Tree foam is in the corner, it needs to match up with the thickness of the inlet. See how thick it is in that corner? So I'm going to cut that down to match, and then I'll cut the Dollar Tree foam to finish off the inlet. I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. All right, so I have the piece of Dollar Tree foam cut, and not to say I'm not happy with it, but the Dollar Tree foam is just not really that strong. So a single layer is usually not, my optimal setup here, but I think once this gets glued in, it'll be fine. And again, this is for the inlets. It's not going to have a lot of stress to it. Once it's glued in there, it should be fine, but it fits in nicely. And I think once it's completely glued down, I do a little sanding, it's going to look pretty sweet. It actually looks, if I squint my eyes, it looks pretty good. It's hard to tell. I'll get the camera here. It's hard to tell just because it's a different color. But I think that's looking pretty good compared to what we had before, which was completely destroyed. So let's get our camera back over here. We'll glue it down. I'll probably sand it off camera because I'm going to take it outside. I don't want to get this dust all over the basement here. But let's go ahead and glue that bad boy down. See if we can zoom in a little bit here. We'll glue it down a little bit. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. There we go. So we'll pull it out. Juice her up with some glue. slaughter in. So it's going to be near impossible to slip this in perfectly without it getting a little wonkied up. The nice thing about this being the Dollar Tree foam is it's pliable, because this does have a little bit of a downward angle. It's a little off over in this area, but again, compared to what we started with, I'm not going to complain. And we want that right about in the center, up against the fuse. That's there. That's about as good as that piece is going to get. So we'll let her dry for a minute or so. And we'll take a little closer look. Looks pretty good from the front, to be honest. Looks pretty damn good. And it's flimsy compared to the other side, just because it's that type of foam. But it's more of the look what we're going for, because we're not gonna, again, we're repairing something that was pretty much destroyed, and that shouldn't be getting too much you know, really a lot of stress, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I can say right off the bat, it looks like once I sand it, I think we'll be okay. But that's that. That's all there is to it, I guess. Nothing left to do but a little bit of sanding. So let's take a look again over top. It's not bad from what we had. Take a look from the front. Again, we'll sand that. Let's take a front view here. Not too shabby. Not too. I won't complain. Looks like our nose is a little goofy. The canopy's on straight, but it definitely looks like the nose might be a little crooked. I don't know if it's just the the nose looks like it's a little crooked, but oh well. And that's where the compression comes in. It's like you can never account for that. It looked pretty straight, but again, it'll fly. I don't think it's just not that thing is. I don't know if this zoom on the camera's making it look that bad or what, but it looks like it's pretty freaking crooked. Yeah, but oh well. Again, I'm not really going to complain about it. What's funny is it's lined up, where did it hit on this side? So it's just odd that it would be that much off when everything lined up. It would seem like it would be crooked the other way, but who knows? I mean, again, I'm not going to complain. We will not notice the difference in flight. This thing is just a slow flyer. Let's zoom out a little bit. And by slow flyer, I don't mean super slow, but for, an F-22 for a jet. There's some fast jets out these days. This is almost a trainer style jet, to be honest. It's pretty easy to fly, so we're not going to notice too big of a flight difference in it with that crooked nose. But that's the first time I actually looked at it. So again, I'm pretty happy with that. That's a wrap on that, except for sanding and painting. So we'll move on to the wing, and we'll go from there.